Kesha, coming back to you with another video. This time we're going to talk about how we frame questions, how we ask different questions. So what do I mean by that? If you think about it, we live in a benevolent, loving, giving universe that always gives us that which we ask. And if you're unaware of that, think about some of the questions you might ask and not be aware of it. What I mean is, think about when you're having a bunch of really hard experiences and you're tempted to say, oh, why does this always happen to me? Right? Or you seem to be dating the same type of person. Why do I always attract these same kind of losers? Right? Why do I always find myself in these same kind of situations? The universe, being kind and benevolent the way that it is giving you opportunity to see how that is true by presenting those experiences again and again and again. What would need to change in order for you to see a different set of experiences? Well, you could begin by asking a different set of questions. Because obviously what's happening is when you ask the question, you're acting in the same way. But if you're asking a different set of questions, then you're going to be shown a different set of answers. And what do I mean by that? Say, for instance, I want to experience greater wealth and prosperity. So my question is, how can I make more money? Right? How can I make more money? As the universe is endeavoring to show me that answer, I'm going to be given different ideas, different suggestions on how I can do things differently. What will then be up to me to do is to act on them, right? Because I can't continue to do what I've always done expecting a different result. What will need to change is I'll need to have an idea or a suggestion to do something differently and then follow through with that. So if I ask the question, how can I have more money? And the answer is, or the little prompting that I get is potentially something like, call this person, right? You might not know why you're being given the insight to call that person, but if you follow through, you could be having a conversation and they have an idea that matches with something that you've already been thinking about. And that prompting to call was your way of connecting. You might ask the question, how can I lose more weight? Or how can I lose some weight? And then you're shown, like the next morning, you wake up at 6 o'clock to go pee instead of 7. And that prompting, before getting back into bed, you hear a voice that says, why don't you go for a walk? That's a way that's being shown to you of how you can lose weight easily, right? You're being given the idea to go for a walk instead of crawling back into bed. You'll have to be doing something different in order to affect a different outcome. So that's a very simple way of looking at the questions that we ask, leading to getting the answers that we get. And to me, that comes to me through my teachings or my learnings in the universal laws. One of them, and probably my absolute favorite, is the law of correspondence. And that is the question and answer, the desire and result are of the same substance and simultaneously available. So if I know that, and I know that, again, I live in a loving and benevolent universe that is going to bestow upon me the answers to the questions that I ask, then it behooves me to ask better questions. So that's kind of where this comes from. So if I ask the question, if I want to lose weight, right, I can ask the question, how can I be skinny? Or how can I be healthy, right? The answer to that question can be revealed in a number of different ways. So if I ask the question, how can I be skinny, right? There are so many different ways that could come about. It could come through diet and exercise, typical ways that we might think, but it could also be that you develop a tapeworm, right? It could be that you find yourself in an accident and you're on a feeding tube and you're being given low-calorie meals for a number of months, and that causes you to lose weight and you lose muscle and your muscles atrophy and that sort of thing. Whereas if you ask the question, how can I be healthy? then you will come to your body's normalized weight, but you'll be healthy in the process. So do you see how asking the question in that different way can lead to a different answer? One of them is going to be more positive and beneficial. The other is maybe invite something that you don't want to have happen. So again, it pays for us to be more thoughtful in the way that we ask our questions. Something that I like to try and I work with every so often is asking questions of how and why. How questions tend to speak more to the process. How can I develop the potential that's within me? That's going to show me answers in what processes can I change, what actions can I take that are different, that are going to lead me to a different outcome or the more desired outcome. Whereas if I ask, why is it that I always have plenty of money? Then that is a why question speak to a state of being, right? Why is it that I have more money than I expected? That's existing in a certain state, and the universe is going to show me the ways in which that will be, whether that money comes to me in the expected ways through my work and different partnerships, or unexpected ways through gifts or lottery winnings or finding money on the street, which is a fairly common one for me. So how and why, how being the process, why being the state, and we want both, right? We want to be shown the ways in which we can improve. And we also want that to just be simply the state of our being. And I think by asking the question, how can I have more money? And why is it that I have more money? Asking both of those questions reveals to you a process and also encourages your mind to accept the state of that being. Something I would encourage you to be aware of as well is framing your questions while still looking at the negative. So it's going back to the weight example. If I ask the question, how can I not be fat? I'm still looking at being fat, and the subconscious mind doesn't recognize words such as no and not. So I might as well be asking the question, how can I be fat? As opposed to how can I not be fat, right? That's still looking at fat or this thing over here. Whereas really we want to turn our attention to the other side and how can I be, well, we said skinny, or how can I be healthy, right? That's moving away from the negative that we don't want to experience. We're looking towards the positive, what we do want to experience. So it's also when we begin to frame questions, we want to look at the end result in mind and ask from the most positive aspect of our being a question that will lead to us lead to us having that answer revealed to us in the most positive light possible. I hope that makes sense. I will endeavor in my next video to be better about that in my explanations. So going back to the law of correspondence, when I first learned that law, of course, it was our homework to practice it. And I remember right after class, the day that we had learned it, I was in a really large shared antique store. So it wasn't just one vendor, it was multiple vendors. And as I was walking through, I was remembering, oh wait, I just learned this new law and I'm going to have this homework. I wonder how I'm going to do my homework. I don't know how to do this homework. And the homework was that we had to experience the law of correspondence in our life. And I'm like, I don't really know how I'm going to experience that. But again, the law of correspondence, the desire and result are the same substance and simultaneously available. After I'm asking myself, how am I going to do my homework? The next question popped into my head. I wonder what this store used to be before it became this antique store. And not 3 seconds after I asked the question in my mind, I happened to walk by 2 people who were working there and they were talking, and I overheard one of them say, well, this used to be a Haverty's before it became the antique store. And I was blown away because that was exactly my question. And there was my answer right then and there, showing me the law of correspondence. The question and answer are of the same substance and simultaneously available. So then I had this new thing to work with and to play with. And in the years that I've had that wisdom revealed to me, I use it all the time. And if you know anything about me, I like to solve problems. And one of the ways in which I solve problems is looking at the issues that the problem that we're seeing, and then asking questions that will solve that problem. And as I ask that question, I trust and know that the answer is going to be revealed. And so I can wait for that answer or work towards it in whatever way is appropriate. So that's my sharing with you on how to craft questions that really lead to the answers that we want to experience. I want to leave you with this final example. And really it's what prompted me to share this video. I was reading a story in the news this past weekend, and it made me think of Oprah, and that she has met with incredible success overcoming so many different obstacles. And I thought, well, and I have my notes here. The question that I asked of myself and of my friend was, why are her stars better aligned than mine when we both breathe, speak, and pray? And then I was like, no, that's really not the question. I don't want to know the answer to why are her stars better aligned than mine. I really don't care about that. I don't need to be shown the difference in our alignments. What I want to know, what works for me, the question that I need to be asking is, how can I easily and immediately realize my full and greatest potential to the benefit of myself and others? Right? Because if I get the answer to that question, then the results that I am experiencing are comparable to and on the level of anyone else that I might consider successful. And if you know me at all, you know that I don't give much effort and time to comparing myself to another. But in this particular instance, I felt okay with it because it was encouraging me to find something greater within me. And so that's the question I've been asking myself these past couple of days. And yeah, I'm already starting to see that being revealed to me in small but significant ways. And so again, this is a technique and a practice that I want to encourage you to employ yourselves. I know one question that was asked of me recently is, what am I supposed to do with these videos? Well, first of all, listen, right? Secondly, do what I'm saying. Make it real for you. Try it for you. If you know anything about me, I don't just have these books, I read them. And one of the things I love to do when I read a book is actually do the thing that it says to do. And part of the benefit of you having watched this video and engaging with me in this way is that I've read these books, not all of them yet, but I'm working on that. But I've read them and I've practiced them, and now I'm sharing them with you, so you don't have to read them if you want to, but take the information that I'm sharing with you and employ it in your life and see if it will make a difference. Maybe some things will and some things won't, but now is the time for us to all explore ourselves greater and realize something greater about ourselves. And if this technique or any of the others that I might present to you can be of service, then yay. But definitely try that. Be aware of the questions that you ask. I'll give you another example, and I have tons of these, but this one is particularly informative. I was in Kyrgyzstan. It was my last visit there a few years ago, and I was riding around town with Vyacheslav Nikolaevich. He's the father of the father of my brother, who ran the jewelry studio that I worked in. Anyway, he and I were riding around town, and it's Kyrgyzstan, it's Bishkek, and I was like, I wonder how do they deal with accidents? Because you don't really call the police for these sorts of things. It's not like how we do things in the States. I'm curious, how do they handle what happens when people get into an accident? That was in the morning when we were riding around. A couple hours later, about 2:00. We got into a little accident. Now it was a minor accident, but I got to see how people in Bishkek handle car accidents. I wasn't particularly mindful in the moment when I was asking the question. I was just being me, just being curious. But as soon as it happened and I recognized that I had just been asking the question, what do people do? How do people handle accidents? And then I was shown the answer. It was an immediate reminder, hey, I need to be more mindful of the types of questions that I'm putting out there because I'm getting answers to everything. And what's interesting and I find helpful, and it's definitely helped build my faith, is that the more I am aware of the answers to my questions showing up for me, the more that I'm aware of the results being expressed over my desires, the it strengthens that muscle of, okay, I can believe in this discipline, I can believe in myself, and I can believe in how I actualize it. And so it definitely is making me more responsible for my words and actions, which, I'm looking to be the best me possible. And so that works for me. But it's also, it's incredibly empowering, right? I have tremendous amount of choice over how things work and flow in my world because I get to ask the kinds of questions to reveal to me the states in which I want to live. Why am I always surrounded by the most incredible people on the planet? That's a question I'm asking all the time, and all of you are a part of that. So thank you for being the answer. Why do I always have plenty of money? Because damn it, that's the way I set my world up to be. Why do I always have plenty of money? That's always the question I'm asking, and money is always coming to me. You know, for every question I ask, I know that there is a divine answer, and it doesn't have to be something miraculous. It could be something simple and basic. In truth, there is nothing more advanced than the basics. But it encourages me to be mindful of the questions that I'm asking, and I want to share that with you so that you too will be mindful. Ask better questions. Leave comments on some of the questions that you're asking, or if you want help with how to reframe something that you're working on and you want to get different results, ask me. I'll give you what I think might be a good answer, and we'll come to something together. All right, so that's it for me for tonight. We'll see you all probably again in a few days, in a week, and live strong, be happy. We'll see you. Bye.